you have green eyes like me?
They are. Very rare.
Those are my eyes. Min Jae Park stood frozen in the courtyard of Cambridge University, his hand halfway to the iron gate, staring at a boy who had no right to exist. 8 years since he walked away from this campus. From his mistakes. From the only woman who ever made him feel like something more than his father's investment. 8 years of building an empire, of late nights bleeding into earlier mornings, of becoming exactly what everyone expected him to become. And now, on an ordinary October afternoon, watching a 9-year-old boy chasing a soccer ball across the same grass where he once studied for exams which he never needed to pass, Min Jae saw his own face staring back at him. Not similar eyes, his exact eyes, rare, unmistakable, the color of sea glass, a genetic anomaly his family had carried for 3 generations, eyes that appeared in exactly 0.2% of the Korean population, eyes that marked you amongst the Park's lineage, the family of wealth and influence. The boy laughed, and Min Jae's world tilted sideways, and behind that boy, sitting on a bench with a book she wasn't reading, was Dr. Sarah Chen, still beautiful, still watching the world with that quiet intensity that used to undo him completely. Still, apparently, keeping the kind of secret that could dismantle everything he had spent 8 years building. Stay with me. Because this story, it is not what you think it is. But before we go any further, please hit that subscribe button right now. What's coming in the next 40 minutes will make you feel things you weren't prepared to feel today. Now, let me take you back 8 years, because you need to understand exactly who Min Jae Park was before a boy with sea glass eyes forced him to confront who he should have been all along. Min Jae Park at 23 is everything you would expect from the heir to Park Industries, a billionaire tech company, expensive, charismatic, untouchable. He moves through Cambridge like someone who has never been told no for an answer, because he hasn't. He was studying international business at his father's insistence, at a university his family donated an entire library to, in a program where his acceptance was never once in question, which he never needed the degree. All he ever wanted was the connections, the network, the polish that comes from spending 4 years among people who will one day run countries and corporations. He is exceptional at getting what he wants, and even better at never wanting anything that might actually cost him something. He didn't know yet that the cost is coming. His closest friend at Cambridge is David Chen, a Chinese-American economics major who grew up in Seattle with a single mother, a full scholarship, and 0 patience for Min Jae's performance. David is the first person Min Jae has ever encountered who looks him directly in the eye and says, "You are smarter than the act you're putting on." And somehow, instead of walking away, Min Jae stays. They become inseparable friends. David drags Min Jae to volunteer events. Min Jae drags David to networking dinners. They argue about everything: philosophy, economics, whether the finest Korean barbecue exists in Seoul or Los Angeles. They balance each other in the way that only works when someone sees exactly who you are beneath the expensive watch and the effortless smile. And David has a younger sister. Sarah Chen is 20 years old and completely unimpressed with Min Jae Park. She is in her 2nd year studying molecular biology. She is brilliant, the kind of brilliant that never announces itself, that simply and quietly solves problems no one else even noticed. She plays piano. She reads medical journals for recreation. She has exactly 3 close friends and no desire to expand that number. She is also, essentially, raising herself. Their mother works 2 jobs in Seattle. David sends money home whenever he can. Sarah works part-time at the university library, tutors undergraduates in chemistry, and studies until 2 a.m. Because sleep is something you earn, not something you take. She has no time for men who coast through life on their family's legacy. Min Jae becomes a fixture in David's apartment regardless. He shows up uninvited, he eats their food, he loses spectacularly at card games and pretends it doesn't bother him. He calls Sarah Little Chen with that insufferable smirk, and she rolls her eyes so completely he's surprised they stay in her head. But here is the thing about Min Jae that nobody discusses, the thing even he doesn't fully understand. In In the moments when he believes no one is watching, he is kind. Sarah notices it first when her laptop dies 3 days before her biochemistry final. She is prepared to handwrite her entire research paper, to arrive at the library at 5 a.m. and fight for a computer. She tells no one, because there is no point. Money is tight. David is already stretched. Their mother is already working herself into the ground. A new laptop appears on her desk the following morning. Not extravagant, nothing flashy that would raise suspicion. A reliable mid-range model with all her specifications loaded, wrapped in plain paper with a note that reads, "David mentioned yours was slow." When she confronts David, he looks genuinely confused. "I didn't tell him anything." Min-jae shrugs when she attempts to thank him. "You need it for school. It's not a big deal." But it is. It is a very significant deal to someone who has never had anything handed to her. The next day he begins appearing at the library during her shifts. Not to study. Min-jae doesn't study. He absorbs information through some form of academic osmosis that infuriates everyone around him. He appears because the library closes at 11 p.m. and Sarah walks home alone, and the campus isn't always safe. And whenever her shift ends, he is always seen walking in the same direction with her. He remembered her birthday when David forgets. He arrives with a small cake from the Korean bakery 20 minutes off campus, one candle, and the worst, most gloriously off-key rendition of Happy Birthday in 3 languages. "You're terrible at this," Sarah tells him. They both laughed. "I know," Min-jae responded, and for just a moment they had fun together. He sat with her through her mother's surgery scare. That devastating week when Sarah can barely eat, barely focus, when David is in Seattle and she is alone in Cambridge, holding herself together with caffeine and sheer willpower. Min-jae offers no empty reassurances. He simply shows up, brings food she doesn't touch, sits with her in silence when words would feel like an insult, stays when anyone else would have left. "You don't have to be here," she tells him at 2 a.m. in the hospital waiting room she is haunting through phone updates. "I know," he says. He stays anyway. Sarah fell in love slowly with Min-jae, then all at once. The way you fall asleep. Imperceptible, until suddenly you're drowning. And here is where I need to pause and ask you something. Because what happens next? What Min-jae did the moment he realizes Sarah loves him, it is going to make you angry. It made me angry writing it. Tell me in the comments. Have you ever loved someone who was too afraid to love you back? Because that fear is about to destroy 2 people. Don't go anywhere. What comes next breaks everything. It all happened on a Wednesday in March. David is in London for a conference. Min-jae is supposed to be studying for exams that doesn't matter to him. And Sarah is making tea in their small kitchen, with the window cracked open and rain beginning to fall. Min-jae sits at the kitchen table, pretending to be reading a textbook he has already memorized. "Why are you really here?" Sarah asks without turning around. "David asked me to check on you." "David has been gone for 3 hours. You've been here every night this week." Min-jae closes the textbook. "Maybe I like your company." "You like everyone's company. You collect people the way others collect stamps." "That's not fair." Sarah turns around. She's wearing an oversized sweater, her hair in a loose bun, looking tired and young and so beautiful it physically aches to look at her. "No," she says quietly. "What isn't fair is you showing up here and being you, and then leaving and pretending you don't know exactly what you're doing." "Sarah, I'm in love with you." The room goes absolutely still. Even the rain seems to pause. Min-jae stands. "You can't be." "Why not?" "Because I'm..." He stops. Starts again. "Because you deserve someone who knows how to do this. Someone who won't ruin it." "You don't get to decide what I deserve." "Your brother is my closest friend." "I'm aware." "My father expects me back in Seoul in 3 months." "I know that too." "Sarah, I don't know how to be what you need." "Then learn," she says. He kisses her. When he pulls back, his hands are shaking. "I can't promise you anything," he says. "I'm not asking you to." she responded. And for 3 months, Min-jae Park was genuinely happy. Not the shallow satisfaction of achievement or the hollow validation of expectation, but real, irreducible happiness. They study together. She quizzes him on material he doesn't need help with, just for the excuse to be in the same room. He learns to cook exactly one dish, japchae, and makes it every Sunday until she finally admits it's almost good. He takes her to a piano bar and watches her play Debussy with her eyes closed, and he understands for the first time why people write poetry about moments they already know they're going to lose. She wears his jacket. He keeps her favorite tea in his apartment. They accumulate inside jokes, a favorite spot on campus, 1,000 small intimacies that feel like building a language only they can speak. He knows it is temporary. She knows it is temporary. Neither of them admits it. The next day, Min-jae received a phone call from Seoul, Min-jae's father. Your graduation is in 6 weeks. Your position begins the following Monday. The apartment is ready. So is your office. Don't be late. Not. Are you ready? Not. What do you want? Just, don't be late. Min-jae looks at Sarah asleep in his bed, her hair across his pillow, her hand curled beneath her cheek, and feels the future closing around him like a fist. He could fight it. He could ask for more time. He could ask Sarah to come with him. He did none of these things, because Min-jae Park at 23 is still, fundamentally, a coward. The next day he starts pulling away, slowly at first, missing plans, becoming vague about when he'll return, spending more time with friends who never ask difficult questions or look at him as though he is capable of being something better. Sarah notices. Of course she notices. Are you ending this? She asks him one evening. No, he lied. Then what are you doing? I'm just stressed, about graduation, about going home. Are you asking me to wait for you? I don't know, he says. Just a pause, because what Min-jae did next, there is no justification for it. None whatsoever. Just 3 weeks before graduation, Sarah finds out the truth. Not from Min-jae, from a woman named Jessica Kim, a friend of a friend, someone in Min-jae's social circle, whom Sarah has encountered exactly twice. That day, Sarah went to a campus cafe, studying for her final year exams, and Jessica suddenly slides into the seat across from her. You're Sarah Chen, right? David's sister? Yes, she responded. I don't know if this is right, but I want to ask, are you two actually together? Sarah's stomach drops. Why are you asking? Jessica looks uncomfortable. Because he was at a party last night with Yoona Lee, like seriously with her, and when someone brought it up, he said what? Sarah asked. That he isn't seeing anyone seriously, that he's returning to Seoul single because long distance isn't his thing. A pause. I just thought, you deserved to know. Sarah thanked her for the information. She is very skilled at keeping her face composed, and just immediately she closed her books. She walked across the campus to Min-jae's apartment, and she used the key he gave her 6 weeks ago to unlock the door, and she walked in. Min-jae is on the couch with Yoona Lee, not kissing, worse than that. Comfortable. The ease of two people having an intimate moment together. Immediately, they pull apart the moment Sarah stepped in. Sarah, Min-jae called out loud. So it's true. No, not what you think, he responded. You told people last night you're returning to Seoul single. Min-jae's face shifts through something complicated. Yes or no? I didn't want to hurt you, he said. So you thought lying would be better? I thought... He drags a hand through his hair. If I let this fade out naturally, it would be easier. For both of us. Easier, she asked with disappointment in her eyes. Sarah, please. How long? She glances at Yoona, who has the grace to look ashamed. How long has this been happening? We were just... Don't. Sarah's voice fracture. Don't insult me with more lies. Immediately, she dropped his key on the coffee table. She didn't throw it. She places it down with the quiet finality of someone returning something that was never truly hers. "Sarah, wait," he called. "You know what the worst part is? I actually believed you were different. I really believed the person I gave my heart was really in love with me. It was just another performance." "That is not true." Min-jae opens his mouth. Sarah nods slowly. "That's what I thought." And she left with a broken heart. She walks all the way back to her apartment without crying, which is the hardest thing she has ever done. 6 weeks later, Min-jae graduates. She didn't attend the ceremony. And 7 weeks later, Min-jae flies back to Seoul. He left without saying goodbye. And that same week, Sarah took a pregnancy test in the bathroom of her campus apartment, watches 2 lines appear, and she understands that Min-jae Park is going to be part of her life forever, in the most irreversible way imaginable. She sat on the bathroom floor for an hour, then she stood up. She washes her face, and she made a list. She didn't tell Min-jae. She should. She knows she should. But every time she reaches for her phone, she remembers him standing in his apartment, unable to say she was worth fighting for. She remember long distance isn't my thing. She remember the key on the coffee table and the silence where his answer should have been. And she made a decision. If he didn't want her, he doesn't get this either. It isn't revenge. It is self-preservation. She later told David she is pregnant. She told him the father was a brief relationship that ended badly. Someone David doesn't know. Someone who made it abundantly clear he wanted nothing to do with parenthood. David held her while she cries and promises they will figure it out together. Their mother flies in from Seattle. Practical, loving, devastated, but absolutely determined. "We're Chens," she tells Sarah. "We handle what life gives us." Sarah finished her PhD program. She moves back to Seattle. She works part-time at a research laboratory, saves every dollar, and prepares to become a mother at 21. The baby arrives in February, 8 years ago, with the most extraordinary eyes Sarah has ever seen. Sea glass green, rare, unmistakable. The nurse comments on them. "I've never seen that color before. Is it genetic?" Sarah looks at her son and sees Min-jae Park staring back at her, and feels her heart break and mend in the very same breath. "Yes," she whispers. "It's genetic." She names him Ethan, Ethan Chen. David became an uncle, the most devoted uncle in existence. He visits every month. He sends gifts. He video calls to hear about preschool and first words and every milestone along the way. Sarah completes her PhD remotely. She publishes research. She became Dr. Sarah Chen, molecular biologist, single mother, the woman who rebuilt herself entirely from scratch. Ethan grew up so fast. He is gentle, thoughtful, equally obsessed with soccer and science. He asks 1,000 questions, and above all, he has his father's eyes. Every single day, she sees Min-jae in him, in the way he concentrates, in his occasional dimple, in his stubborn insistence on doing everything himself. She makes peace with it. Mostly. Peace is not the same as forgiveness, but it is livable. And then the reunion invitation arrives. Let me ask you something. And I want you to sit with this, genuinely. Was Sarah right to keep Ethan a secret? Or did Min-jae, despite everything, have a right to know? Drop your honest answer in the comments. No judgment. I want to know exactly where you stand. Because what happens when these two come face to face again is going to challenge everything you think you believe about second chances. Stay with me. We are just approaching the moment everything combusts. Min-jae Park is 31 years old and the CEO of Park Industries. He assumed leadership from his father 2 years ago. He has tripled the company's valuation. He appears on the cover of Forbes Korea. He is everything his father spent decades engineering him to become. He is surrounded by people at every moment, employees, partners. A rotating presence of suitable women his mother introduces him to at charity galas, but alone in the way that matters, in the 3 a.m. way, in the way where success tastes like absolutely nothing. He hasn't spoken to Sarah Chen in 8 years. He has thought about her approximately 8,000 times. The reunion invitation sits on his desk for 3 weeks. Cambridge University, class of 2016, 10-year reunion. Technically only 8 years, but the pandemic postponed the original gathering. The invitation explains this in cheerful script that makes Min-jae want to discard the entire thing. David has been messaging him for months. You have to come. It won't be the same without you. Come on. You're coming. I already reserved your hotel room. Don't make me fly to Seoul and drag you there myself. So Min-jae agrees, not because of David, because he knows Sarah might be there, and he has spent 8 years wondering whether he made the greatest mistake of his life. He arrives London, and he took the next train to Cambridge, and he walked through campus as though touring a museum of his own history. The buildings, the grass, the cafe where he spent an unreasonable amount of money on mediocre lattes, the bench where Sarah used to study between classes. He is not looking for her. The reunion begins on Friday evening, a casual mixer in the courtyard. Min-jae arrives late. Expensive suit, expensive watch, every inch the accomplished CEO. David spots him immediately and pulls him into a hug. You came. I honestly didn't think you'd actually come. You threatened me. I persuaded you. There is a meaningful difference. David grins. Come on, there are people you need to see. Min-jae allows himself to be drawn into conversations, former classmates he barely recalls, professors who are grayer and slower. Everyone wants to discuss Park Industries, Seoul, success. No one mentions Sarah. He didn't ask. And then, across the courtyard, he hears a child laugh. He turns. A boy, perhaps 8 or 9, is dribbling a soccer ball between the flower beds with the intense concentration of someone who takes the game very seriously. The boy looks up. Green eyes. Not blue-green, not hazel, not kind of greenish in a certain light. Sea glass green. The precise shade Min-jae sees in his own mirror every single morning. The boy smiles, and there is the dimple. Left side. The Park family dimple that appears faithfully in every generation. Min-jae's glass slips from his hand. It shatters on the stone courtyard. Everyone turns, and that is when he sees her. Sarah Chen, standing near the bench, her hand frozen halfway to her mouth, eyes wide with the specific terror of someone watching their carefully constructed world collapse in real time. She wears glasses now. She looks older, more certain of herself, like someone who has passed through fire and emerged as steel. She is the most breathtaking thing he has ever seen. The boy sprints toward her. Mom, did you see that shot? Mom. The word detonates. Sarah's eyes meet Min-jae's across the courtyard. Neither of them breathes. David appears at Min-jae's elbow. Hey, you all right? You dropped your... He follows Min-jae's gaze. Oh, Sarah made it. Did you know she was coming? And that's Ethan, my nephew. Come on, I'll introduce you. No, Min-jae starts, but David is already moving. Sarah looks as though she might run. She didn't. She holds her ground as David approaches with Min-jae beside him. Sarah, you actually came. How long has it been? David embraces her, entirely oblivious. Too long, Sarah says. Her voice is steady. Her eyes never leave Min-jae's. And of course you remember Min-jae. Of course, Sarah says. Min-jae, this is my nephew Ethan. Ethan, this is my closest friend from university. Ethan looks up at Min-jae with those impossible green eyes and extends his hand with the formal courtesy of a child raised on good manners. Nice to meet you, sir. Sir. Min-jae shakes his hand. The boy's grip is small and warm and completely, undeniably real. Nice to meet you too. His voice sounds as though it is surfacing from deep water. You have green eyes like me, Ethan announces brightly. That's so cool. Mom says they're really rare. The courtyard is tilting. They are, Min-jae says quietly. Very rare. Sarah has gone completely pale. David, magnificently oblivious, says, Isn't that something? What are the odds? I'm grabbing more drinks. You two catch up. And walks away. Sarah and Min-jae stand 3 feet apart with 8 years of silence and one green-eyed boy between them. Ethan, sensing the adult tension he cannot name, says, I'm going to keep practicing, and runs back to his ball. The moment he is out of earshot, Min-jae says quietly, How old is he? Sarah swallows. 8. His birthday? February 14th. Min-jae did the arithmetic. His face does something terrible. Please, not here. Min-jae looks at Ethan, then back at Sarah. When? Tomorrow. The coffee shop on Mill Road. 10 o'clock. You'll be there? Yes. She walks away before he can say another word. Min-jae stands in the courtyard and watches a boy with his eyes play soccer, and understands that everything, absolutely everything, is about to change. He sits in his hotel room with his laptop open, searching. Sarah Chen, Molecular Biology. Her faculty page at the University of Washington appears. PhD in Molecular Biology. Published researcher, specialization in genetic disorders, awards, peer-reviewed publications. A professional headshot where she is smiling slightly, like someone who has learned how. No mention of family, no mention of a child. He searches Ethan Chen, soccer team rosters, school honor rolls, nothing definitive. He pulls up his phone, scrolls to Sarah's contact, still saved after 8 years because he has never been able to delete it. His thumb hovers over her name. He didn't call. At 3 a.m., he opens his own childhood photographs, the ones his mother sent him years ago. There he is at 3, at 5, at 8. Green eyes, the same dimple, the same concentrated expression. He holds the mental image of Ethan beside them. It is like looking at a mirror across time. She sits in David's guest room. Because of course David insisted they stay with him. Because David is David, and has no idea he is housing a detonating device. Ethan is asleep down the hall, peaceful, unaware. Sarah's laptop is open to a folder she hasn't accessed in years. Photographs from Cambridge, her and Min-jae at the piano bar, his jacket around her shoulders. Both of them laughing at something David said. She looks young, hopeful, stupidly, completely in love. She closes the laptop. In the other room, her phone vibrates. A message from an unknown number. I won't take him from you. I only need to understand. MJ. She stares at it for 10 full minutes. She didn't respond. Min-jae arrives at 9:50 a.m. Sarah is already there. The same table where they used to study. She has tea. She is stirring it slowly. You didn't tell me. Sarah looks up. Her eyes are red-rimmed but dry. Because you made it abundantly clear you didn't want complications, and a child is the definition of complicated. That is not fair. Neither was what you did. You should have told me regardless. So you could do what? Send money? Establish a trust fund and disappear? Perform concern for 6 months until it became inconvenient? You don't know what I would have done. I asked you whether I was worth the inconvenience, Min-jae. You couldn't answer me, so I made the decision for you. He is my son. He has been my son for 8 years. You don't get to arrive now and claim him, because your guilt finally caught up to you. I am not trying to claim him, Min-jae says quietly. I'm trying to understand. Were you ever going to tell me? I told myself I would. When he was older, when I was ready. But time kept passing. And you were in Seoul living your life. We were in Seattle living ours. And it seemed cruel to fracture his world simply to ease my own guilt. Does he ask about his father? Sometimes. What did you tell him? That his father wasn't ready to be a parent. That it isn't his fault. That he is loved, wanted, and enough. Exactly as he is. Does David know? That you're Ethan's father? No. How is that possible? Because David sees what he chooses to see. He believes Ethan's father was someone I dated briefly after graduation. Someone who wanted no part of us. You left without a word. You chose ease over honesty. So forgive me for not chasing you down to complicate your life. Every day for 8 years, I've thought about what I lost. What I was too frightened to fight for. I need you to know that leaving you was the worst decision of my life. Not because of Ethan. I didn't know about him. But because you were the only real thing I had ever possessed, and I discarded it out of cowardice. I want to know him. If you'll let me, I want to try to be what he deserves. He deserves someone who shows up, not someone who appears when it's convenient. And I will not allow you to walk in and out of his life whenever it becomes difficult. If you do this, you commit entirely. I am not doing this for you. I am doing this because Ethan deserves to know where he comes from. But you do not get to hurt him. The moment I believe you are going to hurt him, You are gone. Understood. Sarah studied him for a long moment. He plays soccer. He is obsessed with marine biology. He despises broccoli but loves Brussels sprouts for reasons I have never been able to explain. He is thoughtful and sensitive, and he feels everything deeply. He is not like other children. He is like you, Min-jae says softly. He is like both of us. Sarah's voice wavers, and that terrifies me. I will not hurt him, Sarah. I swear it. Don't swear, just show up. Min-jae nods. They sit in brief silence. How do we do this? He asks. I don't know, Sarah admits. I've never navigated this before. Neither have I. Despite everything, Sarah almost smiled, and they both agree on a plan. They will tell Ethan together. Soon. No lies, just the truth. For the formal dinner where Ethan sits between Sarah and David and fires approximately 700 questions at Min-jae about South Korea. Do you speak Korean? Yes. Can you teach me a word? Min-jae teaches him 안녕하세요. Hello. Ethan practices it 40 times until he pronounces it correctly. Min-jae watched this child, with the focused intensity of someone memorizing something irreplaceable. Sarah watches Min-jae watch Ethan. David watches all of them and announces, It's nice, isn't it? Everyone together? Sarah and Min-jae exchange a glance. Yeah, Sarah says. Really nice. David is out visiting another friend. It is just the three of them in a park near campus. Ethan is scaling a jungle gym. Sarah and Min-jae sit on a bench. We should tell him now, Sarah says. Are you certain? No, but we won't become more certain. They call Ethan over. He runs up breathless, eyes bright with the specific joy of a child who has no idea his world is about to shift on its axis. What's up? Sarah takes a breath. Ethan, sweetheart, we need to talk to you about something important. His expression sobers instantly. He is 8. He understands that important means adult territory. Okay? Sarah looks at Min-jae. He nods. You know how you've asked about your dad? Sarah begins. Ethan, Sarah says gently. Min-jae is your father. Ethan blinks. The green eyes, he says slowly. Yes, Min-jae manages. That's why we match. Yes. Ethan looks at Sarah. Did you know when we saw him? Yes, baby. Why didn't you tell me straight away? Because I needed to speak with him first, to make sure. She pauses. To make sure he wanted to be part of your life. Ethan turns to Min-jae. Do you? Yes, he says. More than anything. But you didn't before. The truth. The hard, unvarnished truth. No, Min-jae says. I didn't know about you. And when your mother and I knew each other, I made terrible choices. I wasn't ready to be anyone's father. I would have been awful at it. And now? Now I want to try. If you'll let me. Can you come to my soccer games? Yes. And teach me more Korean? As much as you want. Will you live with us? Sarah moves to intervene, but Min-jae answers honestly. I live in South Korea right now, but I can visit often. We can video call. I can come to your games, your school events, anything you want me at. Ethan nods slowly. Okay. Can I still call you Min-jae? Dad feels strange. Call me whatever feels right. Can I go back to playing now? Sarah laughs, half sob, half relief. Yes. Ethan sprints back to the jungle gym. Sarah and Min-jae sit in stunned silence. That was easier than I anticipated, Min-jae says. I need to pause here and ask, how do you think Ethan truly feels beneath that composure? Because children say okay to many things they are still quietly working through. Tell me in the comments, do you believe Min-jae can actually do this? Can someone who ran away genuinely learn to stay? What comes next will test that question in ways none of them expect. Min-jae did not return to Seoul, not immediately. 1 week becomes 2. 2 weeks becomes a month. His board is confused. His father is furious. His mother calls daily asking when he is coming back. He stays. He secures an extended stay apartment in Seattle, 20 minutes from Sarah's house. He attends every single one of Ethan's soccer practices. He learns the names of every teammate. He brings orange slices. He cheers from the sidelines with enthusiasm, but without embarrassing anyone. He had dinner with Sarah and Ethan twice weekly, and Min-jae teaches Ethan Korean phrases. Ethan teaches Min-jae about tide pools and sea anemones. Then one Wednesday, Ethan collapses during soccer practice. One moment he is running. The next, he is on the ground, unconscious. He finds Sarah in the emergency corridor, standing outside a set of double doors, looking as though she might fracture. Ethan is in the hospital bed, small and scared, connected to monitors that beep steadily. "Mom," he says, and starts to cry. Sarah holds him. "I'm right here. You're safe. We're figuring it out." Ethan sees Min-jae over her shoulder. "You came." "Of course I came." The doctor arrives. "We're running a full panel. Cardiac, neurological, metabolic. Given his age and the sudden onset, we want to eliminate every possibility." "He's going to be fine," Min-jae says. "You can't know that. He's strong. He's your son. He's your son too." The words settle between them like something permanent. The doctor returns at 9 p.m. "We found something." Sarah stops breathing. Ethan has a cardiac arrhythmia, specifically long QT syndrome. It's a genetic condition affecting the heart's electrical system. It triggered the collapse. "How serious is this?" Min-jae asks. "It can be life-threatening if unmanaged. However, it is treatable. Medication, lifestyle modifications, regular monitoring. The critical thing is that we caught it. Many patients remain undiagnosed until something catastrophic occurs." "What causes it?" Sarah asks. "It's inherited. Autosomal dominant. If one parent carries the gene, there is a 50% chance the child inherits it." Sarah and Min-jae look at each other. "Do either of you have a cardiac history?" the doctor asks. "No," Sarah says. Min-jae goes very still. "My mother does. She had a defibrillator implanted 5 years ago. I never knew the specific diagnosis." "We should test you," the doctor says. "If you're a carrier, that is clinically significant." Min-jae got tested immediately. He carries long QT syndrome, undiagnosed, asymptomatic until now. He passed it to Ethan. "It is not your fault," Sarah tells him. "You didn't know. He has this because of me. He has green eyes because of you as well. Genetics are not moral indictments." But Min-jae cannot release it. His father calls. He picked immediately. "You have been absent for 6 weeks. The board is asking questions. Investors are growing uneasy. Come back. Now." "I can't. This is not a request. My son is ill." "What son?" And Min-jae realizes he has never told them. His family has no knowledge of Ethan's existence. "I have an 8-year-old son in Seattle. He was just diagnosed with a cardiac condition. I am not leaving him." His father's voice turns arctic. "You have a responsibility to this company." "I have a responsibility to my child." "Don't be naive. You can hire the finest care. Send resources. You don't need to be physically present." "Yes, I do. If you remain there will be consequences. Then there will be consequences." Min-jae ends the call. His hands are shaking. 3 days later, a Korean financial outlet runs the story. Park Industries' CEO has secret child in America, company future in question. He sits before a respected Korean journalist, entirely composed, and says, "Yes, I have a son. His name is Ethan. He is 8 years old and lives in Seattle with his mother, an accomplished scientist and the strongest person I have ever known. I was unaware of his existence until recently, due to circumstances I will not discuss out of respect for his privacy. He was recently diagnosed with a genetic heart condition, one I unknowingly carried and passed to him. I am in Seattle to be present while we navigate his care. I will continue to fulfill my responsibilities as CEO remotely to the greatest extent possible. But my son comes first. If that disqualifies me in some people's estimation, I understand. I will not apologize for choosing my child." The following morning, she appears at his apartment. He opens the door. He looks exhausted. "I know I don't deserve another chance. I know I destroyed what we had. But if there is any possibility, Any chance at all that you could forgive me? I forgave you the day Ethan was born. Sarah interrupts. I had to. I couldn't raise your son while carrying hatred for you. I'm afraid you'll stay until it gets hard and then disappear again. I'm afraid Ethan will love you completely and you'll break him. I'm afraid I'll let myself believe this is real. Sarah, I am not going anywhere. I will challenge my entire family. I will walk away from my company. I will sacrifice every bridge if that is what it requires to be here, for him and for you. Don't make promises you cannot keep. Then watch me keep them. She rests her head against his shoulder. I love you, she says. She hasn't said those words in 9 years. I love you too, Min-jae says. I never stopped. And for the first time in his life, Min-jae Park is exactly where he is supposed to be. Thank you for staying with me through this entire story. If you made it this far, you are precisely the kind of person I create this content for. Someone who shows up for the whole journey. Someone who feels deeply. If this moved you, if any moment along the way resonated, please hit that like button. It signals to YouTube that this story matters, and it helps me reach more people who need to hear it. Now tell me, what hit you the hardest? The hospital scene? Min-jae's public confession? The moment Ethan called him Dad? The ending? Drop it in the comments. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about these characters as much as I do. I'll see you in the next one.